And here we are, back in shitty quality video, I would say. For now we don't need this one because I know it will be recording. Well, shitty audio, that's pretty much what I meant. Now, you saw previously you saw that I had a station here, small station here. Now, that station was built using these marine plywood piece that I found somewhere and decided to repurpose that for a radio station. It's obvious, as you saw, that half of the radio was like off the piece of wood, and it was not proper for that. That's because the first iteration of this station wasn't actually for it wasn't actually for a the fuck it wasn't actually for a ACB or shortwave radio. It was actually for this. This is a Retavis RT95. It's a 25 watt VHF UHF radio, and this is basically how I started. So yes, I use the mobile radio as a fixed station pretty much, and yeah, that's all. That's essentially where this came from. It was just a power supply and this radio, and later on I decided to change the radio to shortwave and abandon this radio, as I used this radio a lot for communication with repeaters. But even one of these, which was my first VHF UHF radio, the UV5R, I guess everyone starts with one of those, even these can talk to a repeater and get a call back, so these stopped being as useful as my base station, as now a shortwave station is. So I stopped using it. I might install it in a car one day, who knows. Like, maybe it will be useful in some way, shape or form. I don't really know. Now, for the new station, I will use this piece of wood. I'm gonna make something proper this time. I want the PSU to be either on one of the ends, have the radio on the other end, depending on how I choose, and have the linear amplifier in the middle. Yes. So it doesn't slide much, and that's because I did some homework and I included a little rubber strip stuck here with duct tape. Originally I wanted to actually use some sort of rubber feet, but I didn't want to spend much money, so I used these. So I found a bag of these. These are like cable, to like put a cable on the wall, so to like hammer down a cable or something. And I started by actually improvising with a few, by wrapping them in electrical tape to see if that was enough, but it was not enough. It still slided, so I abandoned that idea and just used the good old rubber strip that I already had on the other green board that you saw. Alright, now the equipment that we'll go get. Okay, cat hair is everywhere in this desk. Jesus Christ. The equipment that we'll get. I'm gonna get some parts. I'm gonna reuse some parts. I'm gonna get new parts. There's gonna be a mix of both. For the PSU, I have this. This is 12 volt 15 amp, and well, it's a PSU. It's gonna be either ear or ear. I'm unsure. We will see where it sits best. By the way, this is going to actually be put against the wall. Speaking of against the wall, if you notice, there are two wires. One of them is from the UHF antenna, ignore that. The other one is from the antenna that we are going to connect, and this is the end of the wire. The other end is obviously plugged into the antenna. So let me get my bag. We have here the old Superstar 3900. Now this radio, I repaired this radio actually. So a radio like this new costs between 150 to 200 euros, I'm not sure. I got this one for free because of a friend. It was broken because my friend was using it on a boat. Boats use maritime VHF, which operates in the 160s, somewhere the frequency of 160s. But it's also a channel divided. It's also a channel divided type of communication. And he was using it with a VHF antenna. He never got anything from it, and after a while the radio didn't even turn on. Like he was trying so hard and all that, and trying to contact, and one day the radio just went poof. I believe this is a 2023 version. I could be wrong, because the board is so small. Like inside you have here the power transistors for whatever, for the transmission itself, but then the board is so small compared to like a 1980s version. And from the front, it does resemble to something like a Cobra GTL, Cobra 148 GTL or something. It resembles to that. Now, if you get one of these out of the box, don't tamper with the switches yet. I'm gonna actually explain what every switch does and how to actually tune the radio and the antenna together. For that, I'm actually going to spin up this SWR calibration, because that's pretty much the core of getting one of these right. I'm gonna explain what every switch and every button does. Now, I think this could be here. The power supply could be here, and the new amplifier, the new linear amplifier, could go here in the middle. Actually, let me just go read the specifications, because I suspect of something and I'm not 100% sure. I know this radio uses like 5-6 amps, but I don't know how much the power amplifier actually does. Seal their product packaging. Okay, I need that. And what about this? So this 12 amps. The fuse is for 12 amps. Input current 10 amps. Ooh, I cannot use this. This is a 12 volt 15 amp. If this uses 5 to 6 amps and this uses 10 amps, it's gonna be really at the edge. Not to worry. It's just unfortunately something that we cannot recycle for this project. Nothing to worry, because I came prepared from the same brand that made the power amplifier, PUNI. They also have a 30 amp power supply similar to that one. I don't really like this. Hold on, let me check. Okay. Right. This power supply is built-in fan on-off control circuit. Fan automatically works according to working temperature. Okay. So we can do something. Oh, of course. And the box of Magic also has a couple of other things that we're gonna need, such as, well, the radio mic, connector from the radio to the amplifier, the radio power connector, it's important, yeah, the fixing brace, that's also important, a power cord that should be rated for, how much does this pull again? So this pulls, I don't know how much this pulls. But if this cord is rated for like 16 amps, we should be fine. 16 amps. 16 amps, 250 volts. We are fine. We have more than availability. Right, a male-to-male connector, that's gonna come in handy, and the microphone fixing thing for the PTT button, and that's everything from my magic box of crap. Now, tools so before we even start with anything, and before we start drilling holes and fixing shit together, let's just study the best way. So this pack of cigarettes actually contains screws. It does not contain cigarettes, alright? That probably shouldn't go on YouTube because of the picture. So putting here this is a plug that goes like this. Alright, good. And does it reach? It does, but it's kinda stretched. I don't like this. It's a little bit stretched, but it does reach. This one obviously reaches, right? It's a little bit stretched, but it does reach. When the receptor is on this side, alright. I didn't want the radio in the middle because I didn't want to be so close to the PSU. So this needs to connect here from yeah, this is not gonna work. I wanted the PSU at one of the ends, so let's try the other way around. Let's try having the PSU on this end. Okay. Maybe pull the amplifier a little bit to the front. Let me see if there's clearance to the microphone cable. There should be clearance to the microphone cable. We can assemble it already. Okay. And from here to here there's also clearance. That's good. This is in the RTX. Yeah, this is okay. This exit will go to the antenna, and there's clearance for both cables. Perfect. So like this it works. How does one screw these or fixes these in? Do I have to take apart the whole thing? I think I do. And I don't like that. Having screws so close to the is it only a side screw mount? How was the other one? Yeah, the other one had these little tabs, but this one does not. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Oh, there's a film protecting it. Okay, that's better. Like that, it's better. Okay, so I think we figured out some sort of position that we stop banging on the. I think we figured out some sort of position where we like our equipment. So yeah, that's gonna be useful for later. So, and let me check here the phone. the phone camera. Let me check that. Or I mean the camera, the camera. Ooh, it's so slow. Okay. Right, it's recording fine. Let's not worry. So yes, tools. We need tools. We're gonna need some sort of set of screwdrivers. Everything Phillips, whatever. Phillips screwdrivers, flathead screwdrivers. You check the nails that you have. Check the nails. Check the screws that you have, and that's how you decide. How does this come off though? It's two screws in the back. Okay. It's two screws in the back. That's gonna be useful for later. Okay, so we kinda need, so since we actually figured out how to actually do our stuff, we kinda need now to figure the tools. We're gonna need a multimeter. Besides the set, we're gonna need a multimeter. We're gonna need probably some sort of pair of pliers. Not really sure which ones will help us the most, so I got both out. Electrician flathead screwdriver. These screwdrivers are actually very dangerous. They are not as dangerous as, like, they are safe, but people trust them too much. That's why they are dangerous. The way that this works, if you've never worked with one of these, the way that this works is that this screwdriver is galvanically insulated. Okay, it has a lamp there and it has an insulator here, and it uses, the lamp is connected to one side here, to the other side on this metal tab here on the top. So it's metal that would basically flow current through the entire thing. This sounds awful in theory, but it's galvanically insulated. Now, if I stick the screwdriver, and that's the thing, when the galvanic insulator fails, people get shocked and die. I'm actually going to do this right hand. So if I stick the screwdriver, where is it? Okay. This, you see nothing, because this is the neutral. On the live wire, it will light up the lamp. And this basically shows that it's live, but it's using your own body as a conductor, which is actually an awful idea. But well, for better or for worse, you have there's an electrician screwdriver. You're gonna need one. You're gonna need a regular screwdriver. This is just in case of backup. Again, some sort of pliers. Choose the ones that you like to use the most, the ones that make sense. We might need, no, we can actually move the light. We actually have light here. You might need some sort of wire cutter and wire strippers. Okay. I'm not sure. I'm gonna keep it here on the table just in case. I'm not sure. Wire cutters, wire strippers, yeah, basically that. And yeah, no, and well, there's always a requirement, some sort of knife. It's always welcome to be part of this. I don't think I have many screws, so let's start by the radio. Jesus Christ! I'm gonna break the mic. Yeah. Let's fix that. Let's fix the mic. Let's fix the mic already. So, where am I gonna fix this? So this enters like this, right? Yeah, it slides like this. Good. I'm probably gonna attach it to the radio itself here on the side in one of these screws. So let's do that. Okay. It's one of the stock screws, let's call them like that. Usually you'd mount these on the dash of a truck or something, or whatever. There are cats fighting outside. Come on, y'all brothers, man. Oh, fucked up. Forgot this screwdriver is magnetic. Okay. Okay. That's not going anywhere. Good. There we go. This puts the radio right here. There we go. Hey. Okay. With that actually done, let's grab the power supply so that doesn't dance anymore. This is the old one. The old one can go into the surplus box. That's gonna be used for something else. PMI actually is a good brand, not sponsored, not affiliated, nothing. They, for some reason, they have good. What the fuck? This screw is not unscrewing. What the hell? Is this one unscrewed? Wait a minute. Out of curiosity, the manual is a good idea. The manual is a good starting point. Let me see. Let me grab, so it's Russian, okay. Doesn't actually say much. Alright, so after fiddling around a lot with the power supply and not going anywhere, we are going to use the easy solution for every problem. After analyzing the bottom of the power supply, that also looks like a good idea. We'll see. We will duct tape everything together. This is not just any duct tape, by the way. This is, there we go. I'm gonna need to, I have electrical tape here to actually hold it. But this is double-sided, this is single-sided. What the fuck am I saying? Alright. So, around here. This is paper. No, this is just for the power supply, because I sure hope everything else is screwed in. I don't really like this idea, but I'm making shit on a budget, so yeah, it is what it is. If you're watching this in 10 years and for some reason duct tape prices shot up, I'm really sorry. Hey, this time it was easier. Okay, so let's do this another way. Let's do it like this. the end is there, so yeah. Alright. Like this. And now we fix it here. Okay. Alright. Now wiring. We can start by wiring. Before we even wire anything, before we even turn on the radio and continue this, let's first screw in the PSU, which I was here wondering why the damn thing didn't slide. So, well, yeah, my reason is because I added the damn rubber thing. So this is the live, this is the neutral, and this is earth. Right, where's the power cord? Here's the power cord. It's good. I would assume yeah, these are good. So live is brown. Live is brown. Okay. Neutral is blue. And earth is this green yellow multicolor wire. Earth is the most important one. Doesn't matter if you have power when you're dead, does it? Earth sometimes can be a bitch. Like, it shorts oscilloscopes. The negative probe of an oscilloscope is generally shorted to the earth of the power plug through the scope. So it's just like it's not ideal. Let's just test continuity. Okay, just so you guys see it as well. Right, so testing continuity. Okay, this is a short. Let's see if and this is not good. Okay. This is actually not good at all. Hold on, where's the older PSU? I'm almost sure the older one, so art is here. Yeah. This is really not good. Well, anyway, not ideal. Let's proceed, shall we? So, the next step is to undo two of these screws. One of these is probably the safest. Putting it here. This is a V plus, it's not a V minus. Let's see if it actually turns on first. The fuck? Okay. Yeah, this is not good. $13.8. The car alternator runs on 14.4. Let's unplug this eye. I'm getting nervous. Anyway, so power is done. So the power part of the process is done. Trust the process, everyone. Trust the process. We don't need the multimeter for now. Next, the radio. Let's go again and put the radio. We can use the linear amp. We can use the linear amp if we have a reference to where the radio is going to be, which is here. Okay. Let's see in the parts that we have. There's tobacco leaves. That's tobacco leaves. That was actually kind of stupid, hiding these in a tobacco leaf thingy, but that's okay. Let me check. Let me check if these fat screws are from the radio. Okay. So maybe a little bit more like this. Okay, so I can put it like here, like this. Okay. Okay, so there's another one. Now, let's see. It's better than some that is better than nothing. I'm not gonna say, I'm not gonna lie. One down. Okay. We'll assemble the radio next. But before the radio, let's grab the amplifier. No, it looks like shit. It looks like shit, but nobody's perfect, so, and well, it's actually fixed. So, well, for me that works. It does look like crap though. It looks like absolute shit. But that's fine. For me that works. Let's connect the radio. Let's mount the radio, that is. This is my radio. There are many like it, but this one is mine. Full Metal Jacket, anybody? Now that we have, let's check. So we have a V plus, so alright, so as I was saying before I ran out of battery, I'm connecting the wires and I'm not gonna use the negative that is closest to the line wires because that's asking for trouble. But I'm gonna connect everything already and yeah, and run up and do individually. I'm also going to teach you how to operate the radio right now after putting the radio in place. Okay? Let's hope this doesn't break. Good. With that made, it's time to... This is going to be needed in the antenna side, I think. I'm going to actually attach that to the cable because we need first to connect the radio I guess, quote unquote raw. Let's just put the lamp here. Move these here. Remove these tools. Okay. So this doesn't matter. Be a superstar 3900s. Be a Cobra GTL. Be a really be a anything. See if I can. Oh, this is too much. So, explaining what each button does in a simple manner. Now, the buttons will be named differently depending on the radio itself, but the functions will be pretty much the same. For example, in the Cobra GTL, this button that is A to F is actually selecting the band. It's not the dimmer. This adjusts the brightness of the instruments. It's an example. But anyway, so here you have, as you can see, vol and SQ. SQ stands for squelch. You adjust squelch to block unwanted noise. Usually when I'm searching for contacts, I have squelch deactivated because I want to even hear the most remote noise. The front one, the one in front, is the volume. That's fine. Mic gain and RF gain. RF gain is on the external. This gives gain to the signal that's coming in, which includes noise. The right configuration for that one is rotating the RF one to maximum, and usually people rotate the microphone one to maximum, but I like to keep it like an eighth of a rotation behind. SWR calibration. I'm gonna teach you how to calibrate SWR. SWR is the stationary waves. It's when you transmit something, it's the amount of waves of that energy that comes back. This one is the dimmer. I like C. It's not dark and it's also not bright. This one is the modulations. FM, AM, USB, and LSB. USB and LSB are sideband modulations. And then you have the option PA, which is to install a PA speaker if you would have this in a car. In my case, PA doesn't nothing. It's the output for the speaker, so it's whatever. And then you have the digital adjustment for the wave. So to move in digital waves are USB and LSB. And the way that they work is that upper sideband USB uses the upper part of the wave of an AM signal, and lower sideband uses the bottom part. The coarse, which is the outside one, will adjust how much or how well and how the others will listen to you, and the fine will adjust how others will listen to you in a finer way, but also how you listen to others. Okay? If you rotate this all the way, they can sound like Donald Duck. That's basically, or it's basically what I want to get to transmit here. And you will need to actually make a contact with someone and tell if they read you, or if you need to adjust the band, basically the band position. Now, in this radio you have this button here, which is channel 9 or off. As the name says, when you switch this, it will automatically put channel 9. Channel 9 is known as emergencies. So it's just convenient to have one here instead of, imagine you are on channel 34 and you need to be pressing up or down to move, or rotating on this knob to go to channel 9 to listen to see if there's an emergency. You just switch this up and the emergency is there. Tone on or off. The tone is basically when you click the PTT and speak, you then release it. If the tone is off, nothing happens. If the tone is on, it will make a little noise, will transmit a noise. So it's like a Roger beep, if you know what that is. It's essentially a Roger beep. Okay. Now there's this button which is off or NB ANL. And I recommend it to have it on. This one, yeah, back to the tone one. It's up to you. Can have it off or on. Depends if you like the Roger beep or not, and if you want others to hear you with a Roger beep. Then you have NB and ANL and off. NB is noise blanker. This is basically the noise blanker, and I recommend keeping that on. And then you have this 3-position button that goes to RF, SWR, and calibration. SWR so we have this little monitor here on the radio, which actually will indicate the different things. Usually I keep it in RF to see how others are reaching to me, but for example, to calibrate SWR, you will want to read the SWR1, the SWR signal, and to calibrate you need to put in cal. We are going to do a calibration right now because I uncalibrated the radio on purpose. So the radio is plugged, right? Right. Okay. So be it. If we turn on the radio, let's actually go check before we start transmitting. Let's check if there's activity. We have radio. So now that we actually confirm that we have radio that works, we are gonna go to channel 40 or channel 1. Channel 1 is better. It's when here you have channel 1 or channel 40. Yeah, channel 1 here. And we are gonna look at the monitor here. If I switch to SWR, this value needs to be, you have a scale of, the scale of SWR is the top one here, is really the top one. Now I can actually show you the dimmer and how it affects stuff. The SWR1 is the top one. You also have a arrow on the end with that says cal. Pay attention to that because we will go back to that in an instant, okay? And ideally SWR is between 1 and 1.5, but minimum the best. Even 0 would be a perfect world, but the scale starts in 1 for a reason. 2 is a bit of a bad signal. 3, please stop using the radio. More than 3 you are really risking burning something. So selecting the SWR switch and selecting 1 and making sure, having the modulation in AM or FM, an analog channel, and making sure nobody is talking on these channels. Okay, nobody is talking on these channels. We press this and check the SWR, which is not really bad, but yeah. So the needle didn't even move, which means we are good. If we go to channel 40 and press the button again, the needle barely moved, but yeah, we have a good antenna, good radio, everything is matching perfectly. You will notice the antenna, the needle will jump around. Now in calibration, on channel 1, you press PTT button, and you need to match these until the needle touches the cal arrow there. See? Now it's touching. Now if we go back to channel 40 and press this, yeah, it's equal. And you adjust that by turning the SWR knob. When these two meet on cal, it basically means you are good to go. and you transmit. Now if you check SWR again, nothing. Rose a little bit on one. This basically means the antenna is slightly shorter than what it should be. Which, well, in the previous video of the antennas, I explained that that's actually a fact. It's actually shorter. Now, let's go and check on the amplifier. We need to turn off this. Alright. Now, the amplifier has three parts. It has the amplifier actually has three parts. It's three buttons here. It has a preamp, which basically increases the RF gain, so the listening gain. We don't really need that. It has a linear amplifier, which is the linear amplifier, the amplifier that we want, and then we have AM and SSB for the modes that we want. Now let's wire these in. Let's wire this, and yeah. So I'm gonna bring the radio system to the front, and do the antenna cable from the radio. By the way, these configurations must be done with the radio directly hooked to the antenna, not through the amplifier, okay? Every time you need to calibrate your radio, it's always directly to the antenna, never to the amplifier. So we connect the amplifier to the antenna, alright? And we connect our little cable from the radio to the amp. Okay. And now we put the whole thing, we can push it to the back. Right? Good? It's good. It's basically done. Now we try and okay, so now we can turn on the radio. If we turn on the, so we are in AM, if we turn on the preamp, you can see that we have a little gain already.